Good day to all our listeners who have logged in to our Neo-Life call. It's certainly my pleasure to welcome Dr. Barry Bland, who will be speaking on the subject of how we can and we must become intentional about our immunity. Dr. Bland is a specialist anaesthetist. He's a fellow of the Faculty of Anaesthetists. He's a member of the Royal College of Surgeons, and he's also licentiate of the Royal College of Physicians. And he's, most important to all of us, he's a huge believer in the healing power of food and the power of food-based supplements. So we're so fortunate to have you on the call. Thank you, Barry, and we so appreciate this call and your time that you're giving us today. So I hand over to you now. Thanks.
Thanks, Nala. Thanks for that indeed. Yes, as Nala said, I'm a doctor specializing in anesthetics and have certainly come to realize that nutritional supplementation makes a big difference. And I got to that point when I contracted hepatitis, which is a virus, during my work, and I was very unwell. And I could feel the difference when my wife insisted that I take a whole range of nutritional supplements. And that's what changed my mind. And I was then prepared to go and have a look and see that was there any science behind this, because this was really my concern, that it wasn't just a placebo effect, as they say. So I think Neo-Life has a long history of research and development, and we've been able to interact. And what has been impressive to me is that when I ask questions, I get the responses, I get the logical explanations of what nutritional supplementation can do. And obviously over the years, the research has increased and increased to the point where there is a lot out there now, really good, solid research foundations. I think, our world is upside down at the moment. We've got this strange virus that has done amazing things around the world. I mean, who would have thought 3 months ago we would be sitting in this sort of a situation, both with our physical freedom, but also the changes in economy, the changes in the earth, and how it's functioning at the moment. And because of the virus. And I just congratulate our president and government the way they've handled it, because it is important that we do all of the things that are set in place. The lockdown is important because if I want to protect myself, if I don't come in contact with the virus, I don't get the disease. And so the lockdown is an attempt to slow that process down. This virus is here now, and it will be around for many years to come. And so don't think that it's a short-term deal and then it's all gone. Although obviously our lockdown situations will change as we are anticipating. So that's part of the initial response. Then, of course, social distancing is important for exactly the same reason. If I don't come in contact with the virus, I won't get the disease. And so if I can slow that down so that I'm better on the whole thing, that will be better. A big thing for our personal benefit is to wash your hands. We touch things all the time when we are out or in our own homes, but when we're out, we're touching things all the time. And if we then go and touch our faces, which is one of the things that we're told not to do, then we can transfer whatever it is that we have touched onto the sensitive areas. the mucosal membranes, the wet linings of the mouth, the nose, eyes, where that virus is easily able to penetrate. And so we then contract the disease and it runs its course in our bodies. So wash your hands as often as you can. And of course, if you can't wash your hands, then sanitize. And, it's important to use those facilities that are provided for us in pretty well every place we go these days. And the other aspect of it is to wear a mask. So that's more, I believe, to protect the other person from you if you become infected. But even so, there might still be a protective mechanism from it, and from inhaling it or whatever. So those are the processes that we are attempting physically to keep the infection away from us. But much more important, I believe, for you as an individual, is that you improve your own immune system. Your immune system is functioning 24 hours a day, every second of the day. And it is very capable of keeping the outside out and maintaining your good health. So if we can have our immune systems functioning to their optimum, that, I believe, is where we can improve the potential result of an infection. I'm not saying I take a lot of nutrition, and I'll be discussing some of it as we go, but I'm not saying I'm not going to get the virus. In fact, over the next year and a half, 2 years, I wouldn't be at all surprised if I come in contact with that virus and I get the infection. From there, how I respond is going to be as a result of the strength of my own immune system. And if I can either not get it, in other words, I defend myself right at the borders of my body, and there are ways of doing that, or once it enters and infects me, my own immune system can overcome it rapidly, then I have a disease that doesn't affect me that much. It might only affect me for a couple of days. There are those instances, as we know right now, of people who are positive but have no sign of disease. So if we can do that on a consistent basis, maintain our own immune system, and this is where I believe good, solid, wide, diverse nutritional supplementation can make a difference. And this, one of the things that I believe are important is a multivitamin. And Neolife has this particular multivitamin called Formula 4 Plus, and it is a powerhouse of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, a whole range of things that are of benefit in making sure that we are not deficient in any way nutritionally. Because if we don't have all the basic tools, the fuel, to maintain our immune system at its optimum, then it is just a little bit weaker than it should be. And so we don't get everything. So foundationally, I believe the Formula 4 is one of those things that will make a big difference. I think a lot of people know and talk about things like vitamin C and zinc. And yes, they are important as part of a means of supporting our own immune system. And vitamin C particularly as well, on the wet linings of the body, helps to maintain its integrity. And so if there is the situation where you come in contact with the virus, it's possible that it can be overcome right at that initial surface. And then doesn't become infected. You don't become infected. So things like the vitamin C and the zinc are really important to provide you with the basics and to get all the things that help. Vitamin C very definitely with your immune system, and the zinc is important in helping to reduce the rate of replication of the virus once it does enter into the cells of particularly your respiratory tract, and therefore reduce it. I think there are a lot of areas where the virus affects, obviously, particularly the lungs. But if you can get to it early on and assist your body to overcome it, then you won't have such a poor respiratory outcome as there appears to be with those people who become seriously ill. Obviously, the lungs are one of those areas that it is a big problem. There is a product called carotenoids. This is carotenoid complex. Those are the pigments that you find in your fruits and vegetables. And they are potent antioxidants. And they help to get rid of the free radicals as the cells are damaged by the virus. Free radicals are released, and that can cause damage of itself, not only where the virus is, but in other organs around the body. Now, the carotenoids have been around a long time. That, as I say, part of the pigments in your fruits and vegetables. So we should be getting as wide a spectrum of our fruits and vegetables as we can. This little canister contains 115 kilograms, those pigments from 115 kilograms of fruits and vegetables. And that is a major benefit to us on an ongoing basis. There's no seasonal variation or anything like that as to what we're getting in. And the US Department of Agriculture has done tests on that specific product where they've shown that it could increase the activity of your immune system by up to 37% in 20 days. And that is research and referenced that was done independently from the company. And so it is a major benefit to us that we have, that we can offer ourselves to help to improve our basic immune system. But one of the big areas that appears to be happening with the virus, and of course it's brand new, we don't know everything about it yet. And we are learning as we go. But it appears that there are effects on organs other than the lungs. So it affects the heart. It can affect the kidneys, can affect the peripheral circulation, can affect the brain. And so, we need to be able to protect ourselves as much as possible. And as I say, a foundational multivitamin, things like vitamin C and zinc, the carotenoids particularly, to assist in helping to prevent that free radical damage, those antioxidant effects of the carotenoids. Vitamin C is also an antioxidant. Just helps to get the body protected and reduce the likelihood of complications. And if we can do that consistently, regardless, the problem is we can't see this virus. It's scary because of that. And as we try to protect ourselves physically, as we've gone through all of the processes of lockdown and social distancing, that sort of thing, what we really want to do is to make sure that centrally, right where we live, that we are protected. And so all of these things I'm talking about are of benefit. And we've got to decide what we're going to do with that. There is another area that does seem to be part of what the disease process of the coronavirus is, and that's a lot of inflammation. And inflammation is a normal body response to infection and to all sorts of things. But sometimes that response can be quite aggressive. And so if we can help to reduce that inflammatory response, then I think it's one of the things we should aim at. And when I say omega-3 salmon oil, you probably, oh yes, I know about that. And that is literally a world first. That has all 8 members of the omega-3 family and designed to ensure that the inflammatory response is not removed, because in fact you need it, but that it is mediated, and in such a way that you don't get the negative side effects of that inflammatory response in the body. So all around, if I look at the things that I've talked about, and maybe just one other thing, because it does appear to be something that is quite to the forefront of what is being suggested, and particularly in the UK right now, they're talking about making sure that people are getting enough vitamin D, because as the vitamin D is, again, very important in the integrity of the wet linings of the body. So the mouth, the lungs, the bowel, sinuses, all those things, eyes. Vitamin D is part of that protective mechanism that is there. I've talked about a number of different things there. If you were invited to have a listen to this and don't know too much about the particular products, then just speak with the person who invited you, so that you can get a bit of information, more information about it. But I just believe that we have the opportunity of protecting ourselves consistently. This is not a short-term thing. This is ongoing. So if you found that you felt impelled to go and get vitamin C and zinc, this is not a short-term thing. You need to stay on those things. This is nutritional. It's not a drug. It's not a matter of, oh well, I'm fixed now and I've had enough. And the thing about it is that because this virus, we can't see and we can't detect who's got it and how we're affected by it, it's something we have to be consistent about and intentional. I think often people have looked at nutritional supplementation and thought, well, it's a nice thing to have. I believe it's something that is more than just nice. It is something that has become what I believe it's always been important to make sure that your good health is the best it can be. But I think this virus just makes it more immediate and has brought it to the fore, where we do need to be intentional about our good health. So look at the things I've spoken about, decide what it is that you prioritize, and make sure that even with one of those things, that can make a difference for you. So as you leave this, as I come to an end here, just make sure that you are protecting yourself and to be the best that you can be. And even if, as I say, I do believe over the next year and a half, 2 years, pretty well all of us will come in contact with this virus. And it will depend on our immune system as to how we respond to it. And that, I believe now, is your responsibility.